Today I'm going to talk about the cell respiration and photosynthesis. There are 4 stages in cellular respiration: glycolysis, pyruvate oxidation, citric acid cycle, and oxidative phosphorylation. Glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm before cellular respiration, and it doesn't need oxygen. 2 ATP molecules are used to energize a glucose molecule. When glucose is broken down into 2 pyruvates catalyzed by an enzyme and produce less ATP, the removed hydrogen is carried into the mitochondria by NADH. All the products of part 1 are 4 ATP, 2 NADH, and 2 pyruvates. Second step is pyruvate oxidation. After pyruvate enters into the mitochondria, it first strips off a carbon dioxide and then becomes acetyl-CoA, so acetyl-CoA goes to the next step. All the products of part 2 are carbon dioxide, NADH, and acetyl-CoA. This stage takes place in matrix. Acetyl-CoA and acrylacetate merge into citrate. Carbon-based molecule is split. A molecule of carbon dioxide is formed, and energy-carrying NADH molecules are made. The number of carbons goes from 4 plus 2 minus 1 minus 1 back to 4 and repeat. The main function of the citric acid cycle is to transfer high-energy electrons to molecules that carry them to the electron chain. The NADH and FADH2 produced by the cycle relay electrons extracted from food to the electron transport chain. It can make 3 NADH, 2 carbon dioxide, 1 FADH2, and 1 ATP when turned around 1 time. This stage takes place in the cristae. The electrons carried by NADH pass through the electron transport chain in the inner membrane of the mitochondria, gradually releasing energy. Some of the energy released is converted to ATP, and some is released as heat. ATP synthesis adds phosphate groups to ADP to make ATP molecules. The electrons are eventually transferred to oxygen from water. This is the whole process. One-time cellular respiration can make 10 NADH. The next part is photosynthesis. It converts solar energy into chemical energy. There are 2 stages in the photosynthesis: light reaction and Kelvin cycle. Leaves are the major locations of the photosynthesis. The reason why they are green because they don't absorb green light. Their green color is from chlorophyll 2. The phase of photosynthesis that requires light is called the light reaction. Photosynthetic pigments on the endocyte membrane capture light energy and convert it into active chemical energy and release oxygen. Chlorophyll 2 and other light-absorbing molecules in the thylakoid membrane absorb energy from the sunlight. The energy is transferred to electrons. High-energy electrons leave the chlorophyll 2 and enter an electron transport chain, which is a series of proteins in the membrane of thylakoid. Electrons move from protein to protein in the electron transport chain. Their energy is used to pump hydrogen ions from outside to inside the thylakoid against a concentration gradient. The hydrogen ions build up inside the thylakoid. Electrons move on to photosystem 1. As in photosystem 2, chlorophyll 2 and other light-absorbing molecules inside the thylakoid membrane absorb energy from sunlight. Electrons are energized and leave the molecules. The flow of hydrogen ions through ATP synthesis makes ATP. The products are oxygen, NADPH, and ATP. Oxygen is given off as a waste product. Energy from ATP and NADPH is used later to make sugars. The chemical reaction of the Kelvin cycle uses carbon dioxide gas from the atmosphere and energy carried by ATP and NADPH to make simple sugars. because the light-independent reaction build sugar molecules. They are the synthesis part of photosynthesis. Only one molecule of carbon dioxide is actually added to the Calvin cycle at a time. Glycolysis transforms light energy into the chemical energy of ATP and NADPH. ATP and NADPH from the light-dependent reactions transfer energy to the Calvin cycle and keep the cycle going. One high-energy 3-carbon molecule is made of every 3 molecules of carbon dioxide that enter the cycle. 2 high-energy 3-carbon molecules are bonded together to make a sugar. Therefore, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide might be added to the Calvin cycle to make one 6-carbon sugar. The products are 6-carbon sugar such as glucose, NADP, and ATP. The NADP and ATP molecules return to the light-dependent reactions. That's the whole process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis can be summarized as this equation. That's the end. Thanks.